going for a drive.
2020 Dodge Challenger.
SCAT PACK 392 wide body with launch control. Dude, that's sick.
Horsepower torque.
485 horsepower, 475 pound-feet of torque from a 6.4 liter V8.
And we got this in a manual.
Sure do.
And if you like watching all of our Challenger videos, maybe consider subscribing, because eventually we might be able to go on one of the trips and take these on the track.
Track Challenger.
Because we missed a chance to drive the Demon, and we'll probably never get a chance to drive it again.
I don't think I'll ever drive a Demon. And since it is manual, watch this downshift. Whee! Whee!
All right, so it's definitely missing the supercharger whine, and you wouldn't be an automotive journalist unless you called out your downshifts before you downshift.
That's right. But back to that lack of whee, that's the first thing I noticed getting in here. So if you're gonna buy one of these, straight off the bat, never drive a Hellcat in your life, ever.
It does totally ruin it for you, because it's so much more perfect in a Hellcat, and this is still look really good, but the Hellcat exists, and in a manual too.
Exactly. Just do yourself the biggest favor in the world. Do not drive a Hellcat if you're considering this vehicle.
But this in manual is really fun. I feel like it was almost more fun than the Hellcat, because you actually get to use the gears a little bit more.
Yeah, I can actually look at my RPMs change. The shifter's pretty fun to use. It still feels like it's from a tractor to me, but it's really easy to use.
Yeah, it feels nice to me. None of that tractor feel, but very notchy. And then we've got a very stiff clutch pedal.
So I did mention this is a 6.4 liter V8. Do you know what 392 is?
Cubic inches.
Exactly. So it's 392, which is 6.4 liters when you convert it.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I'm just letting the people know.
Doesn't everyone know that? Like
I don't know if people know that.
A 350 is 5.7, a 302 is 5.
Yeah, I don't know if anyone knows that though. And since we're talking about that with heritage stuff, SCAT PACK. That's originally from the 60s, and then the Challenger got it in 1970, I believe.
So then why is there a B logo on it?
That I'm not sure of. I'm not that into the super heritage stuff.
Okay, what I read up on was that it was based off the B body platform, so they made it a Super B, and I guess they made a B logo.
Because there was recently like a Super B, I believe, with like Dodge Rams and stuff. And I think even Challengers?
Yeah, on the Rams for sure.
Yeah. On the trucks, I remember seeing Rumblebee a lot.
So what's a Rumblebee without a little rumble, right? Well, listen to this. Sounds pretty good, but it could be louder.
And what's cool about this one is when you start it up, the little B logo actually has an animation in the gauge cluster.
It's really cool, and the B logo is pretty funny by itself.
Pretty much all the Mopar logos and characters are the best. They look very cartoony, very 60s-ish, but almost timeless as well.
Yeah, all the refreshes of them as well, they're really good.
I feel like they didn't even like change them.
Yeah, just like update them, just like a little bit. And since this is the wide body, it does get some better suspension, so let's test this out through Cliche Corner. We are in sport mode, which allows a little bit more slip from the back, but it doesn't slide out as much as the Hellcat, and I think it's because this obviously has less power, but you can still get it to step out a little bit.
This feels a lot more sports car to me, kind of like the Mustang and the Camaro.
Yeah, and that's kind of the idea of the SCAT PACK.
It's not obnoxious and just like ridiculous. It's more, I think, track focused.
I think so, actually. That is the goal of the SCAT PACK, but I don't know, taking one of these to the track would be interesting.
I think it'd be a lot of fun. I really enjoy driving it around town. I think it's super awesome. It's less stressful, but it's like not the sweet spot in the lineup. The sweet spot in the lineup is the Hellcat, because it's like the coolest version of the coolest car ever made.
Yeah, the sweet spot in the lineup is the Hellcat because it's the top trim. Like, it's just the coolest car they make.
And it's so wild. Nobody has anything like it. And the marketing behind it, like, Hellcat is the version that you should be getting of this.
Yeah, and this is actually kind of expensive. Where it starts out is not that bad, but where this one's optioned to is kind of bad.
Compared to a Hellcat.
Yes, but a Hellcat's still a lot more. And since we're kind of teasing the price, did you know that this shifter, this manual transmission, costs $1,000 extra?
I feel like I remember something like that from the original Hellcat manual we did.
Yeah, ridiculous.
I mean, considering there's less manuals, it's probably more work to change it up for that. It
is,
makes sense.
but like, come on.
they should be offering huge rebates on minivans when you purchase a manual transmission Challenger.
Yes, or a Hellcat. Like, oh man, you get a free minivan. So even though this wide body package does give you competition suspension, it's still so comfortable. We do have a couple different drive modes, but there's not too many things that actually change within the drive modes. So if you go through the custom menus, you really only have traction, suspension, and steering. You don't really have like transmission, horsepower like you would on the Hellcat.
Yeah, compared to a Hellcat, it's a lot less and a lot easier to understand. But still, when you push the drive mode button, you need to click another button before you see everything that's changing in your mode.
Yeah, it's a little bit annoying. It would be good if it defaulted to the actual drive mode screen. And you do notice the steering changes in between the modes, but again, none of them are too heavy. Track is like kind of excessive. I don't really feel like I need to drive in track mode in a car like this, especially considering I haven't driven it on the racetrack.
And Dodge, come on.
Yeah, Dodge.
And the exhaust sounds really good. It doesn't change in any of the modes though.
No, it doesn't. And this is the 6.4 liter V8, which is different than the Hellcat engine, so let's take a listen to the outside. I think this car sounds a lot better from the outside, but I'm gonna downshift so you can hear it from the inside. Picks up pretty good, but it just doesn't sound that good.
And I actually kind of like that because it's not an ear-piercing sound that hurts my sensitive ears, because a lot of droney cars really screw up my head.
Let's get your sensitive ears in the driver's seat. 4-pedal launch.
Whoa!
Power shifts!
Man, those are like quick shifts too. That's actually a whole bunch of fun.
Launch control actually works in this car, unlike the Hellcat.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
Yeah. And I did mention 4 pedals. What's the 4th pedal, Yuri?
The parking brake pedal is a minivan pedal.
Yes, it is.
The only weird thing about that is we've been in so many Porsches where it's got the same parking release button that's also the parking activation button. I'm expecting it to disable itself and like pop off when I start driving, but it doesn't.
Yeah, because this is real. Those ones are electronic.
But it really doesn't bother me, but I know it really bothers you.
So let's get to the looks.
I love Challengers, and I love them more and more, and I think it's because the body lines mixed with certain paints pop so nicely, it almost looks completely computer generated and fake.
Yeah, and we've reviewed so many different versions of this car, and we still don't get sick of it. The wide body just looks so good.
Yeah, mixed with those amber headlights, the lip kit at the bottom, the nice grills. There's so many nice little pieces on this car that make it look timeless.
And the headlights are only amber when you start rolling.
Yeah, otherwise they just stay all white, which is
both cool.
Cool, I guess. Just more tricks to get it to look cool in photos.
But I think I read that there's ways that you can actually change that online. I don't know if that's true. Maybe it is, but I haven't found it through the infotainment.
What do you think of the decal package on here?
I'd delete it.
It's not like for me. I like the Daytona one on the Chargers, but this is kind of just like, okay.
I just like them with nothing on them. But I like when people put on the massive Hellcat badges on the side. I like that. Even though this isn't a Hellcat.
Yeah, those do look very cool.
And I still love these Devil's Rim wheels because they are so fat and so wide.
Deep dish, delicious pizza. They look really good. And what would be the Continental recommended tire for the SRT 392 SCAT PACK Challenger?
I think you nailed it there. The Extreme Contact Sport.
And then we also have a cool hood here because it is one of the faster models.
And the heat extractors are also real. And if you pop the hood, what do you think of the engine bay?
I mean, it's not as orange as I'd like it to be, but there still is some orange in there.
It's really tucked away in there.
But overall, the looks of this, I love it. And I think most of it goes to the perfect body lines, the perfect way the paint reflects. Whoever is in charge of paint and body lines in Dodge should be the new CEO of the whole company.
Yes, and I think this looks better than a Mustang or a Camaro, and this is realistically the only muscle car out of the bunch. The other ones have turned into sports cars.
Except this is the sport car version of this muscle car.
Correct.
And I should probably see how fast it goes from a roll.
Please. Not bad.
It really pulls, and we got really cool shift lights that pop up red right behind the speedo. It's not super bright, but bright enough.
I still miss the wee.
Yeah, without the wee, it's a completely different vehicle. I think if I had this, I'd be happy with it, but the second a Challenger Hellcat would roll up, I'd be like, ah, man, I made the wrong purchase decision.
Exactly.
Going to test the heel-toe downshiftability into Cliche Corner.
Oh.
Pretty smooth, but my ankle kind of rubs against the carpet.
And now how's the handling, Yuri?
A lot better than I thought it would be, and I'm not just fully on the brakes like I would be on a Hellcat.
It does feel like it grips way more than a Hellcat.
Yeah, it's probably because there's less power.
Yeah, and we're talking about the comparable wide body ones.
I really like it.
Yeah, so do I.
I'm pleasantly surprised at how well this handles.
There's obviously a lot of body roll. This is huge, but like it puts the power down, which is totally different than the Hellcats. And I know we keep saying that, but it's like a really big difference.
This is the best handling you can get while sitting on a couch.
Yes, race couch.
Speaking of couch, let's move on to the interior, starting with these seats.
They are not leather, they are Alcantara and suede.
I really like the SCAT PACK logo you have on there, but the passenger seat will not lower as much as the driver's seat.
Yeah, it sucks. So if you're on the passenger side, you better not be tall.
The rest of the interior is identical to every single other Challenger, so we don't really need to dig too much into it. We've got
this 392 badge.
Okay, that's cool.
That's it though.
We got Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, rewinding satellite radio stations. We've got a really crappy old reverse camera.
We have a bunch of carbon fiber and it's matte in this one, and that's pretty much it.
Performance pages, analog, TAC, and speedo with digital in the middle that shows every single digit.
And let's check the visors.
Oh, I know the answer.
So do I.
3, 2, 1.
Yes, and extension full pass.
And
Good
it'll
job.
fit a cup of coffee just fine. Today I've got a medium, which kind of gets in the way of shifting sometimes, but as long as you keep your elbow on this armrest, it doesn't really get in the way.
And you have to have it in the outside cup holder, not the inside one.
Yeah.
Just rub. If you had coffee in there,
A little
disaster.
awkward. Do you want to do the humorous sitting in the back seat shot?
Well, why wouldn't we, Yuri? Even though we've done it 6 times in this car.
And the trunk space is pretty good.
Yeah, and you also have to reach in quite a bit, which is a little bit annoying, especially for our bad backs right now.
Yeah, we're old men with our slip. We both have the same slip disc.
Yeah, pretty much.
So this, or spend the extra money and get a Hellcat manual, or even a Hellcat automatic.
100% spend the extra money for a Hellcat, even though it's about $20,000 more for the wide body.
So that's pretty much everything with the 392 manual. Let's get to the price.
This one is starting at $52,295
Canadian.
and this one's optioned out to a whopping $71,380.
Okay, that's kind of a lot. How much is a Hellcat?
About $20,000 more in a comparable wide body trim.
So I have a question for you. Would you take this 392 manual, or would you take a Hellcat automatic non-wide body?
Oh, I'd take this.
As much as I'm a sucker for manuals, I'm also a sucker for Hellcats. I'm having a hard time picking as well, but I think what you really should do is work harder and buy a Hellcat manual.
Hellcat manual wide body.
Either or.
Oh, really?
I would definitely do a Hellcat manual non-wide body over a 392 manual wide body.
Yeah, I wouldn't. So then I got some other things to throw at you. The Mustang Bullitt, which is cheaper than this, but starts at about the same price. Would you take that over this?
I'm more into Challengers than I am into Mustangs.
I think the Bullitt is a better car than this personally, and I think it sounds better from the inside. What about a Shelby GT350? Because that's around the same starting price as this one's spec'd out at.
Well, if Ford brought us out to a trip to let us drive one, I would love to make a decision, but until then, I am not going to entertain it.
I would say a GT350 for sure. And then we've also recently driven a Camaro ZL1 1LE, and the starting price of that is basically where this is sitting. So I would personally take the Camaro for sure.
The Camaro was undailyable, and my wife hated it. She would be fine with this. She was fine with the Charger Hellcat, because I didn't floor it and she didn't realize it was fast. So I would go Team Challenger.
Because of your wife.
And daily driving it, it was a pain in the ZL1.
If you're gonna go to the track, definitely get all of those. If you're only gonna drive on the streets, get this. That's what I'm saying about this.
And I also like the whole image of the Challenger more than the Camaro.
Yeah, I totally agree about that. I think this looks better than all of those, but everything else, like the track performance, I think you're gonna get better stuff in the Mustang and in the Camaro.
So check out our other videos of the Bullitt and the ZL1 1LE, ZL1 1LE.
Ooh, and then also maybe just watch the GT500 for fun. Something's gonna be right here for you to collect.
Not the GT350 though.
No, because we never got to drive that.
Or the Focus RS, or a bunch of other cool cars.
Well, I drove the 350 like years ago.
Oh, where's the video?
Yeah, well,
Exactly.
There's an exhaust video.